Hi, everybody. This is a practice to help release tension in your lower back. It'd be good to have a belt. You could use a scarf or towel, anything. Um, and let's see, one block and a blanket or some kind of pillow or cushion could be helpful too. Okay, you're gonna start lying on our backs and be good to have that belt or scarf, etc., handy so you don't have to get up once you're down here. So we'll begin as I almost always like to in Shavasana, lying on your back. If your back's really bothering you, you might need to plant your feet here to begin. So to see what you can manage. We won't be here for too long. We'll do some work on the floor, but we won't be just lying here for too long. So we just start by dropping down, by shifting a little bit more toward being mode than doing mode. And to really being in your body and being in the moment without necessarily needing to fix or change or control a thing. And so noticing how you connect to the floor, maybe the touch of air on your skin, any sounds your ears are receiving, and particularly becoming aware and attentive to the river of breath. See if you can just allow your breath to breathe you. So we're allowing the breath its natural, inherent, spontaneous rhythm rather than imposing control of the way we think it should be or we've been told it should be. A lot of times there's some unconscious holding in the body. So you might just check in with your belly, with your jaw, with your shoulders. Notice anywhere that you might be holding tension and not even aware of it, or maybe you are aware of it. Um, and see if you could just soften and let go there a little bit more, or a little bit at all. Okay, and then we're going to begin with some stretches involving your belt, most likely. So it's not necessarily critical, but a lot of times we're going to reach for the foot. A lot of times we end up compromising, right? The shoulders lifting, or now we can't straighten the leg because we're more interested in reaching for the foot. So I encourage you, a lot of times yoga can be a practice of relating to the ego. So like, I don't need a belt. Well, I don't need a belt, but it's good to use one. So please do if that seems reasonable to you. So we'll take the belt around either the toe mounds or the heel. Let's go left leg first. So toe mounds or heel, not the arch. And the knee could certainly be bent here. The leg doesn't need to be fully straightened, particularly if you're feeling kind of tender or fragile. Okay, and then just notice if the pubic bone is really tilted up relative to your hip points. So we have these two ASIS, your hip points, and then you have the pubic bone. It kind of forms a triangle. And a lot of times when we bring the leg up, then the pubic bone comes up as well. So let's try not to let that happen. The leg might not move as far, but I'll just show you on this other side so you can see a little bit better maybe. So triangle the pubic bone and the two frontal hip points form a flat table rather than the pubic bone curling up. And you might end up needing to plant the right foot in order to find that alignment, and that's okay. The foot can be further away from you. That'll make it more accessible. It might be a little harder if you have the foot close to you. If it works for you to have your bottom leg, your right leg straight, that's okay as well. So the leg is probably not going to come in as far if you're not accustomed to that kind of alignment, and that's okay. And we're in this stretch. You can hold either with your left hand or with both hands. And let the shoulders relax down a little bit toward the floor. Okay, so we have a little gap between the lower spine and the floor by keeping the pelvis neutral. And particularly if you have sciatica or any kind of disc issues, this is a better way to stretch your legs than seated or standing and folding because the spine is fully supported here. Okay. Knee could be bent. You could bend and straighten the leg a few times. Sometimes that helps to release some stuckness. I'm spreading my toes, pushing through the heel. Notice if you're holding your breath at all. Try to keep the breath flowing, but relatively naturally. And this downside leg, either the foot is planted, you can root through each toe and the four corners of the foot, or if the leg is straight, you're pushing through this heel and pressing the thigh down. So both legs are active. A lot of times we make it all about this leg, and then we've got this curl of the pelvis, and this right leg is not participating. So let's enjoy a few more breaths here. You can squeeze the thigh muscle, squeeze the quad. And then we'll keep hold of the belt with the left hand only and bring the right hand to the top of the right thigh to provide a little anchoring down. We're about to open the right leg out, the left leg out to the left, but we don't want to tip the pelvis and lose that neutral spine, neutral pelvis, that neutral triangle table, right? So now the left side of the pelvis is low relative to the right side of the pelvis. So see if you can maintain that level pelvis as you open the leg out to the side. If you feel a lot of strain or like that's just too much for you right now, or you just want some extra support, you can nestle your block right up against the outer hip to keep the pelvis level. So a lot of times people are like, oh, but my leg goes lower, and then they lose that level pelvis and defeats the point of using the block. Okay, so as the left leg stretches out to the left, I'm thinking about rooting through the right leg, pushing through the heels. And there's kind of this idea that the belly is turning away from the outstretched leg. Breathe into your back, breathe into the places where you feel resistance. So we're not actually going to bring breath, say, into the thigh, but by directing our breath there, we're directing energy there. Okay, bring the leg back up to center. We still have left leg airborne. We'll switch the belt into the right hand. Just check in again. And this eagerness to bring the leg in, the pubic bone comes up. Try not to let that happen. You can kind of walk the rib basket, walk the spine a little away from the pelvis to create a little more length here. Okay, so the leg can move in, but we're prioritizing this level pelvis. And then bringing the leg just a little bit across the midline. Not so much that this left hip starts to lift up. And breathing here. I like to kind of slide my hand down the belt so that my elbow can rest down. You could have straight arm instead. Try breathing a little bit more into the back body, the backs of the lungs, back of the rib basket. We call it a rib basket. So there's this quality of pliability and movement. A rib cage implies no room, no ability to move. Not no room, no ability to move. Bottom leg is still active. pushing through the heel, pressing the thigh down. Okay, let's bring the leg back up. And now we'll switch legs. The left foot could be planted or left leg straight. Taking your belt or scarf, towel, t-shirt, whatever you've got around either the heel or the toe mound, not the arch. Stretching the leg up, leg can be bent, and then bring your awareness down to your pelvis. So if it doesn't strain your neck, you can just take a look because it might feel level, but not actually be level. So the pelvic points and the top of the pubic bone are all on the same plane. Okay, maybe the foot needs to stay bent to maintain that. Maybe you can straighten the leg, your left leg now, and the right leg can draw in without the pelvis tilting. So we're learning to separate or differentiate so everything's not moving all together. Notice if the ribs are flaring up here. Kind of walk the rib basket, walk the spine a little more away from the pelvis. This knee could stay bent the whole time, or maybe you're bending and straightening a few times. This side might be different than the other side. Noticing this with kind attention. Downside leg is rooting and reaching, pushing through the heels. Take both ends of the belt into the right hand. You might already know that you liked that block addition. You'll nestle it right up against the outer right hip. And I should have said this on the first side, but if this downside leg is bent, you can open the knee out to the side. Right, so you'd be more here. Checking in that you didn't, it's like the weight of the leg tilts the pelvis. So just experiment with not going as far necessarily, but keeping the pelvis level. And I'm kind of turning, it's maybe more of a kind of subtle visualization, but there's a little opportunity to kind of slide the navel away from the outstretched leg. Now make it more about your breath. And bring the leg back up. The right leg is still up in the air here. Now we'll switch the belt. So you're holding with your left hand and keeping the pelvis level. I would straighten the downside leg now if it's been bent, bringing the leg across the midline. So this is more about the IT band and the outer hip than getting the leg all the way down to the ground. And you might not get as far as I do, or you might get further than I do. Just see how far the body comfortably wants to go without tipping into a big twist. Notice if the pubic bone tipped up again, keep that bit of space between lower spine and floor. And coming back to center. And set the belt aside. And plant both feet. And let's place left ankle on right thigh up by the knee, flexing the foot, drawing the knee away. You could stay right here, and if you do, pelvis level, that might mean scooting the right foot a little further away from you to make that more accessible. If you're not really feeling much sensation, you can draw the legs in. And the left knee, left leg is moving away from you. Maybe you can do it on its own. You can also press the hand into the thigh to help. I'm still working with neutral pelvis here, so I could bring the legs a lot closer in, and then the sacrum totally leaves the ground. That might feel good. I'm not going to say that that's wrong, but it's just a different way to approach the stretch. You might experiment with both. Slow, steady breath. And gently release your grip, bring the foot to the ground, both feet to the ground. Second side, right ankle on left thigh. Working with that triangle table. You could stay right here. This might be plenty of stretch, or bringing the legs in. Hands can come around the shin or the thigh. Encourage the right leg to move away from you. And see what it feels like to keep the pelvis stable and move the legs in independently. So it might be less sensation, maybe it's a different location of sensation versus everything drawing in, which might feel good and feel nourishing for you, but perhaps interesting to try doing it differently. Release both feet to the ground. We're going back to the first side, left ankle on right thigh up by the knee. You can open arms out to a T if you like. And then let's lower the legs over to the right until left foot touches down. If left foot doesn't get there, you can put your block underneath your foot so that it has something to ground onto. Ground to. Okay, so the foot is secure into something and the left knee can move away from you. You can do it on your own or the hand can assist. And then I like to take left arm alongside the ear and really focus the breath into the left side. And bring the arm down. And bring the legs back up to center. They stay in this formation. And now we lower the legs to the left. And you can just let the weight of the left leg release down onto the right leg. Breathing now more into the right side. Back lower part of the right back and rib cage. Bring the legs back up to center. Left foot on the ground. Right ankle on left thigh. Lowering the legs to the left till right foot touches down. If it doesn't get there, don't force it. You can put a block underneath the foot so it's still grounded. Maybe stretching right arm alongside the ear. Maybe using left hand to nudge right leg away. Breathe into the right side of the back body and side body itself. And I'm really reaching. It's an active reach to this right arm. Feels good for me, right into the armpit. Can bring the arm down, bring the legs up. They stay in this basic shape. And now arms out to T and legs dropping to the right. So the weight of the right leg is releasing down into the left leg. Good, take arm alongside the ear again. Make it more about your breath. Bring the legs back up to center. Plant both feet on the ground. Find neutral pelvis again. Elongate your spine away from your pelvis. Make sure your ribs aren't flaring up toward the ceiling. So ribs can draw down and in. Okay, you're gonna place a block between the inner thighs, up by the knees, probably medium setting, whatever allows your feet to maintain, knees to maintain closest to hip width apart. Okay, actively squeezing the block. Drawing up on the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, and then not changing this position of the pelvis as you bring your knees up over your hips. Keep squeezing the block. Make sure the ribs didn't flare up again. Feet are active, feet are wakeful. Squeeze, squeeze the block. And then lower the feet back down. Now we'll interlace the hands at the base of the skull. Squeeze the block. Neutral pelvis, so there's a little space between lower spine and the floor. If you feel kind of crunched up here, so you're going to elongate your spine a little further away from your pelvis. Okay, now from here we're going to hug the elbows in and lift the head and try to lift the shoulder blades up off of the ground. Squeeze the block. Draw up on the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha, the root seal. Maintain neutral pelvis so you're conveniently positioned to keep an eye on your pelvis. Make sure a pubic bone doesn't come up as you bring your knees over your hips. Keep squeezing the block. Try pressing your sacrum down into the ground and lifting the shoulder blades a little bit further away from the floor. Release your head down, release your feet down, take your block out, stretch the legs out. Let's just drop back into Shavasana for a moment. Feet can be planted if back feels super cranky. And let your breath breathe you. Okay, we're gonna move away from the floor now. So maybe this is the end of your practice. If you feel like that's enough, you don't want to push it, or you just feel kind of fragile. Otherwise, we're gonna come to tabletop. So all fours, preparing to do a little bit more active or intense, higher intensity work than the floor work. So we're in tabletop. The hands are shoulder width apart. Spread through your fingers. Dial your hands outward. They're not actually moving, but that's that isometric rotation outward. Toes tuck under. Push the floor away very strongly as you lift from your lower belly into downward facing dog. Knees can stay bent here. So for those of you who tend to round the spine, have a hard time straightening the spine in down dog, we definitely want to bend the knees. Okay? Down dog is not about getting your heels down and rounding the spine. It's about lengthening the spine, and I'm also not sinking into the shoulders. Okay, so I'm like lifting my shoulders up and strongly pushing the floor away. Still dialing the hands isometrically outward. You can just let your head go here. Lower your knees down to the ground and come down onto your forearms. Elbows are beneath the shoulders. Hands are shoulder width apart with the palms facing down. If that's really tough for your shoulders, you can interlace your hands. Drive through the floor with the elbows. So there's a protraction in the shoulder blades. We're lifting up out of the shoulders. Head is in line with the rest of the spine here. Try not to drop the head. That compromises the integrity of the whole pose. Okay, so from here, we're extending the legs back to forearm plank. Notice my butt's not popping up toward the ceiling. I'm also not sagging or sinking down. So it's basically one long line of energy from the crown of the head to the heels. Keep pushing the floor away, rooting through inner wrists, through fingers, especially through the elbows. Squeeze your buttock muscles. Try drawing up on the pelvic floor. Energy back through the heels. Lower the knees down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Allow your hips to drop down, but I'm staying active here, so I'm squeezing the glutes a lot, and I'm pushing the floor away with the elbows. And there's this sense of lifting the chest forward and up. You can press the legs into the ground as well, Sphinx pose. If you're feeling it too much, try walking the elbows forward, still pushing the floor away. We don't want the elbows behind the shoulders, not so great for alignment. So active through the legs, active through the glutes. And let's even draw the bottom of the rib cage in. So this is something that we often just kind of like let the back sag. Let's not do that. Let's really support the back. So if you can feel or sense the bottom of the rib cage is kind of popping or flaring, bring it in. From here, you can lower down, stack your hands, and just take a moment to rest your forehead on your hands. Relax the shoulders. You can shimmy the hips a little bit. That feels nice. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And rise up to all fours. Bring knees under or a little bit in front of the hips. Wrists are shoulder width apart. Spreading the fingers, rooting through inner and outer palms. Well, inner edges of the hands, outer edges of the hands. Dialing the hands outward, external rotation. And then we're coming just into cat pose. You can tuck toes under if you want. A lot of times, no, we'll go on another Dharma talk here, where you tuck toes under, awaken the bottoms of the feet, and then just cat pose here. So from the belly, lift up and really let your spine round here. Strongly push the floor away, and you can let the head go. Breathe into the back. Coming back to neutral spine, setting up for pigeon pose. So this is what you might want your blanket or pillow for. Got a little cushion here to demonstrate with. I'll bring my right knee up toward my right wrist, and then see how it feels to bring your right foot up toward your left hand. This is more about the knee feeling good here. So if it works for your body to bring your shin parallel to the front edge of your mat, good for you. If that creates knee pain or any kind of scary-ish tension, you can let the foot drift back more toward the left hip. Okay, if you've got your right leg forward. We're gonna walk the left leg back. And let's keep the pelvis level here. So if that seems like a really bad idea, you can drop over to the right hip, and we're kind of in this modified pigeon. The back knee can even bend. Okay, and then you can maybe fold forward where it feels like a good idea. If you can be more level in the pelvis, do so, even if it's more work. Work is okay, pain is not what we're going for here. So I'm either pressing the top of the back foot down or toes are tucked under. Sometimes one way will feel better on that back knee versus the other. But this leg is active and the pelvis is level if that's the way you're doing it. And if you can stay level without support, that's going to add stability and strength. If you feel like you could use some support, you can put something underneath your right hip. We're going to keep the chest lifted, everybody, and come forward. So maybe onto your hands, maybe onto your forearms, but not sinking into the shoulders, not dropping the head. So there's still this sense that the chest is moving forward, even if you're down low. Couple more slow, steady breaths here. The ribs are in. Okay, and then coming back up onto your hands, you're going to scoot your back knee in, returning to all fours. Second side for pigeon, we'll bring the left knee up toward the left hand. And then if it works for your body, left foot up toward right hand, shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. Let it drift back if that feels like a smarter way to work with your body. Walking the right leg back. I like to be on the top of my foot here and actively press the top of the foot down. You could tuck toes under. If you're feeling like, whoa, this is maybe too much, you can drop over to your left hip and even bring your back leg in a little bit. And then forward lengthening. Okay, it doesn't have to be any particular way, see which way you want to kind of come forward. Or hips are staying level. Maybe placing a cushion or block underneath left thigh, left sitting bone, left hip. Whatever's down on the ground. For me, I'm doing this more actively, and I recommend it for you also. So we're not doing a yin practice where we're just kind of collapsing and letting go. So whether you're on your hands or your forearms, you're pressing down a little bit, the chest is moving forward and up, and actively rooting down through the legs. Notice if the bottom of the rib cage is dropping down, is flaring out, try to absorb it in toward the back body. So we're lengthening out the back, lengthening out through the spine. Last couple breaths here. Okay, and then eventually rising up onto your hands, you're gonna walk your back knee in to come to all fours. From here, you're gonna step the right foot forward to a low lunge. Stacking left knee and left hip, right knee and right ankle. So I'm in this relatively square, kind of 90-degree shaped lunge rather than this lower, longer, deeper lunge. Okay, knees right underneath the hip. You can have your hands on your thigh or on your hip. And I'm really dragging this front foot back. Not really, but isometrically dragging the foot back and engaging this back or left glute. Breathing here. Let's stay on this side and potentially increase the quad and hip flexor stretch of this left leg. So the knee often gets sensitive here. So you might fold the left part of your mat under. So you have double mat under your left knee. Leaning forward, you can bring your left hand onto a block. Leaning forward a little bit, not with the hips really, if you can, keeping the hips as they are, just with the chest forward, a little hip hinge here, reaching back for your left foot. I like to hold the outer edge of the foot here if I'm holding with just my right hand. But if it's available, you'll take hold of the back foot with both hands and sit up a little bit taller. For some of you, you won't be able to catch the foot. You can use a belt to make the connection. Right? Reaching back. The hard part is getting the belt on the foot. Okay, and then you can be up taller and maybe hold the belt with both hands. If you can't reach the foot and the belt's not working, that's okay. You can be a little bit in this forward position, no rounding, and drawing the heel in. So then it's more of an active hamstring stretch, but that's okay. Engagement, that's okay. So if you're here holding the foot, try pressing the foot back into the hand as you pull the foot in. Still dragging this front foot back, still engaging the left glute. Carefully release the foot. Let's go to the lunge on the second side. Left foot is forward. Right knee is directly beneath the right hip. I'm dragging this left foot back, but it's not moving. And squeezing the right buttock. Standing up tall. You're sitting up tall, lunging up tall. From here, consider extra padding for your right knee. Can hinge forward, that would make it easier, more accessible to reach for the back foot. Use your belt if you need to. If possible, hold the belt or your foot with both hands, coming upright. We almost want to be a little bit forward on the knee, so there might be a little bit of a shift forward here, so the knee is comfortable. So we almost want to be like more toward the quad than the center of the knee itself. So if you're running into knee pain, then try that. If you're not, then don't. Isometrically dragging the left foot back, squeezing the right glute, and pulling the foot in at the same time you're pushing it back. Let the foot go if you grabbed it. Coming back to all fours. Step your right foot forward. Okay, we're back in that same lunge we were in a moment ago. Dragging the right foot back, squeezing your left glute. And then we'll bring the left hand down to the ground, or maybe use a block, particularly if we're rounding to get to the floor. We really want this nice long spine here. You can have your left hand a little more out to the left and kind of lean back into that hand, still active in the legs. Right fingertips to the right temple. The pelvis is staying still. We're going to twist, but twisting doesn't happen from the pelvis, it happens from the spine. Okay, so weight into the left hand, keep the legs active, and then open to twist and unwind. Try that a couple more times. Pelvis stays steady. Maybe it feels like you don't get as far if you're used to moving the pelvis to twist the spine. This next time you open up, stay open. We come up a little bit to place the left elbow on the right thigh, and then join the hands in prayer. Keep dragging the right foot back, squeezing your left glute, and then lift off of the back knee. Keep reaffirming, right foot dragging back, left glute engaged, and maybe find a little more rotation through your spine. Really driving back through the left heel. This left leg is active. Unwind your spine, lower the knee down, and step switch. So left foot is forward. Right knee is directly beneath the right hip, rising up. Dragging this left foot back, engaging right glute. Coming down onto the right hand, using a block. You have to compromise your alignment to get to the floor. You can kind of lean into the hand a little bit. Bring left fingertips to left temple. Pelvis is still. Twisting, opening, and closing. Twisting happens on exhale usually. And then the next time you open up, stay. Bring your right elbow to your left thigh and join the hands in prayer. Lift the back knee off the ground. Drive through the heel. Stretch actively through the back leg. You can continue to rotate through your spine. Pelvis stays quiet. Keep dragging the left foot back, squeezing the right glute. You can lower the back knee down, unwind the spine, and come to sit. And Sukhasana, so I'm crossing at the shins. If your pelvis is tilting back when you sit, we want that same neutral pelvis. So pubic bone stacked in line, same plane as the hip points. If you can't maintain that on your own, you can sit onto the edge of a block or pillow or blankets. We want to sit on the edge to help tilt the pelvis forward into that neutral position. If we sit on the whole, this is a small one, so not the best example, but if we sit fully on it, it often doesn't change anything, okay? From here, we'll take a twist to the right here, I'll mirror. So left hand to right thigh. Walk your right hand back behind you. Get a little action of right knee down and away as you rotate through your spine. And let's just keep the head in line with the rest of the spine, so nose in line with sternum. Unwind your spine. Other side, right hand to left knee. Walk your left hand back behind you. Turning through the ribs, through the spine. Oftentimes when we have the hand on the knee, we start pulling it up. So you can kind of nudge it down instead. Nose in line with the sternum. Unwind your spine. And we'll finish our practice in child's pose, Balasana. So from all fours, you can untuck your toes. Knees can be hips width or wider apart. You can stretch your arms forward. Elbows can be bent. You can bring your arms alongside your body. If your head doesn't make it all the way down to the ground, I recommend putting something underneath your forehead so that it's not up hovering. Breathe into your back. You can stay here a bit longer. You can finish your practice in Shavasana if you prefer. Just being gentle with yourself as you transition into whatever is next for you. Sending you peace and love and gratitude. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.